had people to ask me that over the years. Why would a good God allow bad things to happen to good people? I want to share one lady's testimony. She says here, in my 33 years of life, I have experienced more tragedy than most people experience in a lifetime. I've conquered a rare form of cancer 3 times and have experienced the loss of 5 children, 2 of which I held in my arms. And nothing can prepare you to hear a doctor say that you could only have 2 months left to live if your cancer returns, or that your child is about to come into a world 17 weeks too soon, or that a son that is given to you will be returning to his birth family because they changed their mind. These extreme devastations would have completely destroyed my life, she says, if it weren't for my relationship with Jesus Christ. These tragedies forced me from a very young age to firmly decide what I believed about God and to build my responses around that belief system. She asked the question, was God the almighty cosmic killjoy just using me as a puppet? Or perhaps he was a stern judge punishing me for my sinful nature. Maybe he really didn't care or love me since bad things were happening in my life. Because if he cared, he could have prevented them, right? Or was it possible that these trials in my life were breaking his heart just as much as they were breaking mine? I choose to find the answer to these questions through his word. I wanted to understand what God himself had to say about what I was going through. And while it was so easy to pull Bible verses out of context to fit whatever response that I wanted to have, I really dug deep to try to understand God's heart, not my own. And during my greatest need to know that the God I loved me in return, she says, I found great strength and comfort through his vulnerability displayed in the Passion Week. I could clearly see that God was not a cosmic killjoy or simply a stern judge. He was a compassionate, loving, humble, and most importantly, a relational God. I learned that God's love is so intense that he allowed his son Jesus to suffer and die because he desired to have a personal relationship with me. The suffering of Jesus was so extreme and went further than anyone can truly comprehend. And what struck me the most was that God had all the power in the world to stop this from happening. He could have chosen a different way for reconciliation, yet he chose to allow himself to suffer. What an intense love. And understanding this concept, she says, forced me to these 2 conclusions. Number 1, if God was willing to allow Jesus to suffer, why should I be any different? And number 2, if God was willing to allow Jesus to die for me, should I not be willing to live for him? And so I found myself at a crossroads. I could become embittered and angry that God would allow these trials in my life, or I could choose acceptance and look for ways to glorify God through my circumstances. Through my experience, I've learned that God will allow us to be stretched beyond our human capabilities in order to show us our need for him, to deepen our faith, and to show us that his strength is limitless. And when we choose our trials to build rapport with others that have suffered in similar ways, relationships are built. And when relationships are built, we are given opportunities to share the incredible love of our Creator. Isn't that the purpose of life anyway? What a glorious testimony that a person would take this attitude in life. Because based on your attitude, that will determine whether you will become better or bitter. And it is true sometimes that God will deliver you from the fiery furnace, and then at other times that he'll leave you in the fire. But God will come into the fire with you and hurt with you.